Things just got very real for the Florida Panthers and one of their superstars that we've been waiting on hearing on whether or not he's going to be available for the regular season. Is he not going to be available for the regular season? Well, a little bit of foreshadowing from one of the big-time insiders. I'm about to tell you what he said on X literally in the last 24 hours. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. I am Greg Andrews. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. You guys need to stay up to date with anything and everything that has to do with your back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Well, it's not exactly breaking news per se, something that I have brought up in multiple episodes already, but now insiders are starting to come out and give us little tiny hints as to maybe we're going to be getting an answer sooner than later. I have said in previous episodes that I believe Matthew Tkachuk is going to make a decision, and this is exactly what we're going to be talking about, on when Matthew Tkachuk is going to possibly be having surgery. Again, it is not a definitive answer, but it's looking like all signs are pointing to he is going to be out because of surgery for a significant period of time. And I'm also going to get into some of you guys are out there crying foul. Again, the Florida Panthers, they're breaking the rules. They're bending the rules. LTIR, taking advantage of the situation, all this stuff. Well, I'm going to tackle some of the things that people are saying, some of the comments that you guys have been leaving about Chucky and the Florida Panthers and all this stuff. And I'm going to give you an answer as to how you guys are probably in the wrong. And if you're going to leave comments, well, we'll get into that in just a second. But if you're going to leave comments, guys, don't just state your opinion. Put facts in there too to support what you're trying to say. Because again, I'm going to actually be tackling what the rules are in LTIR yet again. So I just feel like I'm a broken record here, but let's just get right into this stuff right now, guys. So this is what we're looking at right now. Number one, Chucky just got named to be the cover star of NHL 26. So kind of cool news there. He is the very first Florida Panther since John Van Beesbrook did it in 1997. I believe it was 97. It could have been 96. But yes, he's the second player from the Florida Panthers since John Van Beesbrook in 1997, maybe 96. Guys, please correct me if I'm wrong. I do appreciate it. Put down in the comments. But yes, he is going to be on the cover for NHL 26. So a pretty cool thing for Matthew Tkachuk. Yes, he is loud. Yes, he's hated by so many other teams. Yes, he's a pain in the butt to play against. But man, what a great person to be on the cover and grace it with his presence. So congratulations to Matthew Tkachuk, and I hope you all feel the same way. I think he's a perfect person to be on, the perfect player to be on there, because he kind of throws a little bit of everything at you guys, from that grit, from that physical play, from the high hockey IQ to the, again, the game within the game, those psychological plays that he makes on other teams. It's well deserving for him. I mean, he's played so great, especially after literally coming back, not really coming back from the injury, but just playing injured. And again, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit more about some of you crying foul. Well, he came back last season. Why can't he just keep blah, blah, blah? We're going to talk about that in just a second. So anyways, this is what Elliotte Friedman had said on 32 Thoughts podcast. This is literally yesterday. We're going to find out at some point here that Matthew Tkachuk will miss the start of the season. I think he'll be back in time for the Olympics. I think he's going to miss the start of the year and a chunk of time after that. So as we're moving forward, one of the things I want you all to realize here, and this is where I'm going to start throwing at you some of these comments that people are leaving underneath that post from Elliotte Friedman on NHL Rumors on X. And I got rid of the names here because I don't want you guys to see who it is. I don't want you to follow him or go after him or anything like that. But you can see here, back when there's no salary cap again, but there is technically a salary cap still. If you guys would just read the rule, I'm going to show it to you. It's not exactly what is stated in the NHL rule book. I've done that once before, but it's pretty darn close. It's a basic layman's terms rule thrown out there so you guys can understand it pretty straightforward. I'm going to have to show it to you again. Oh, back just in time to own Canada. I like that one, but still, Florida players just take whatever the time seems convenient off whenever to get better. All that sure didn't hinder him for partying like a madman. Well, I hate to tell you this. If you're going to win the Stanley Cup, even if you're hurt, no matter what the injury is, you're still going to party. It's a world championship, guys. Why are you going to give the guy a hard time about partying, even if his leg is all messed up? Who cares? Let him enjoy it. Let him be in the spotlight. He deserved it. He literally played on one leg. He's not lying about the injury. And it says, sure, yes, we know the LTIR scams start early. Oh, he sure wasn't healthy during the playoff run. No, he was not. He still played on one leg and gave it 110% like he always does. Again, that grit, that determination, that I don't care how hurt I am, I'm still going to come back and play. Like a lot of these guys play with a broken foot, broken ankle, similar situation, okay? And then the guy at the bottom. After reading what his injuries were, I'm surprised he played in the playoffs at all. He's a warrior. With that said, I hate him. So, I mean, some people understand it, some people don't. And we're going to get into a couple more things here. Dude will miss every game after the deadline and be injured days before. Funny how it's allowed because they play down south, but the Oilers, whoever dressed one team over the cap in the playoffs, were under investigation. League's a joke, blah, 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 whatever. I'm sorry, Oilers fans. It seems like most of you guys, if you really look there at the picture of the person or whatever their caricature is, that is they put in there, it's usually an Oilers fan. I hate it to say it, but or a Leafs fan or whatever. Strange to be medically cleared for game one of the playoffs. Ha 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 ha. Back for first game of the playoffs. Won't be shocked. Extra $11 million at the trade deadline. No, that's not exactly what's going to happen. They're already over the cap. He's only a $9.5 million cap it. So for $4 million, that leaves $5.5 million to work with, but good job doing the math. But the reason why I am going on about this is because, again, people do not realize from whatever team is your team that you are supporting and you think the Panthers are the worst, they're cheating, they're this, they're not. Understand that your team can do exactly the same thing the Panthers are doing. They're just not doing it because they don't have the GM that's willing to take the shot to try it. Every team in the NHL can do exactly what the Panthers are doing. Yes, he was medically cleared to play in the playoffs. Yes, they put him on LTIR. It is a loophole in the system, but every team can do this. Your player just needs to be so injured that he's got to miss a specific time. They have to try to rehab it. You have to understand there are certain parameters that need to be followed for this to fall in line with LTIR. And here they are. I want you all to realize something here. There is nothing in the rules that says there is a timeline that must be followed, that the player has to either have surgery or something like that. There is nothing in there that says, hey, when he gets the injury on the ice within 28 days, whatever it is, the player must have surgery or whatever. It's not there because that's the player's right to make a decision on what doctor they're going to see, to have surgery. If it takes them half a year to figure out what doctor they're going to trust to perform a very serious surgery, so be it. That's well within their right. If they're not allowed to do that because of a rule and they're forced into something, that is just plain wrong. And I do believe it is actually against the law to do that. You cannot, in any sport, say a player must have surgery within this span of time. Okay? With this injury, I'm sure they saw the doctors. Yes, he was cleared at the end of the regular season last season to play in the playoffs because they said it can't get worse. It can't get better right now. This is where we're currently sitting. If you think you can play through the pain, okay, try to do it. And that's exactly what they did. Every other team is entitled to do the exact same thing with a player that faces an injury where they have to miss at least 10 NHL games in 24 days of the NHL season. That is number one. Okay, that is when a player can qualify for LTIR. Some of these players are not injured enough in terms of the severity of the injury to face that time off. Clearly, when you saw the Four Nations Cup, this was not a gimmick where, oh, we're just going to try to get him so that way the whole plan was to get Marchand and the trade for Seth Jones and all this stuff. That's not in the plan. It just so happened to fall that way. And our GM was smart enough to say, you know what? We have all this cap room right now. We're going to go after these guys and take a shot and see what we can do. And it played out because, again, our front office is just doing a better job than yours of understanding the rules, how LTIR worked, and taking advantage of the loophole in the system. I'm sorry, your team did not do what our team did. but every team can do this. All the other 31 teams in the league can do it. Okay? Your team just didn't because a player is not that injured to do it. Matthew Tkachuk has a serious injury and he's taking his time to figure it out. And again, there's nothing in here that says he must get this done within a specific window of time. No. They're taking their time. They're being smart because it doesn't say they must do it by X time frame. So the longer they wait, the smarter they are being. Find out whatever it is, wait until the very last minute to say you're going to have surgery or whatever it might be, so that way you can put him on LTIR. You can technically exceed the salary cap, guys. It's not going under it. You don't automatically go $9.5 million under it. No, you're exceeding the salary cap. It's a temporary thing because when the player does come back, you must adhere back to the salary cap guidelines. So if it's $95.5 million, you're allowed to be right there at that peak point. They must be there again when he comes back, which is what I've said. If Evan Rodriguez has to go, it might be when Tkachuk comes back. That's why I said hold on to him for now, keep the team together. If Tkachuk's not there for 6 months, he's not there for 6 months, he comes back, then you kind of have to figure out what are you going to do with your roster move. So anyways, I'm not going to get into all of this stuff. I've already done it once before. But again, when the player comes off of long-term injury reserve, the team's annual cap hit for that day must be under the cap. And heading into the playoffs, it does not matter. Next year is when a roster must be put in place that meets the salary cap guidelines. So again, I'm just going to reinforce this point for you guys. This is not about a team cheating. This is not about Matthew Tkachuk isn't really as injured he is, and how he just happened to come back from LTIR to play in the playoffs. It's, yes, he got approved to come back, but he got approved to come back because they're like, it can't get worse, it can't get better. If you want to play through it, you can play through it. It's not an injury like he broke his leg and his femur has been shattered and he can't play on one leg, but hell, he's going to give it a shot. There wasn't any detrimental effects in terms of, oh man, he is going to this is going to get so much worse and his career is threatened or this or that. That again, if you look at these rules, there's nothing here that states, a doctor must intervene at times. It's very vague. It's very vague. Very vague. And it's vague for a reason. And I think that's because the Panthers and the other teams knew that, hey, you know what? Long-term injury reserve probably will not be used all of that often unless a very serious injury happens, which is a rare occasion when these guys have to deal with something like, Nikita Kucherov dealt with the Tampa Bay Lightning, with Riley and the Vegas Golden Knights in the year that he was put on long-term injury reserve. Again, it's teams that understand long-term injury reserve, how to take advantage of it, how to not break the rules by any means. It's following them to a T and just being smart with what you're doing with the player. Some of you guys are out there, the doctors, they can lie about this, they can lie about that. I'm sure there are other standards if you look into the very detailed portion of what this is in the actual NHL rulebook. I'm sure there are rules that state there must be certain guidelines to follow. The doctors must come out and say this for a player to come back. Yes, it was coincidental. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I don't work for the Panthers organization. But from everything that I've read, the doctors must be able to clear him without potential further injury to the player that could make it worse, could be detrimental to their own health and safety. Those guidelines I know they must adhere to. And if he thinks he can come back and play, because you guys saw as well as I did, Four Nations Cup, he could not be on the ice. That's why I think he only played 4 minutes in the final. He could not be out there. He could not be out there. Team's not going to lie about that. But anyways, going back to just Matthew Tkachuk in general, the foreshadowing from Elliot Friedman says that I think we're going to start to hear a little bit more in the next probably couple of weeks about, okay, they're leaning more towards this. It's probably going to happen around this time. That's what this is saying. If this is starting to reach the ears of these different insiders and analysts alike, something is starting to brew. Something is starting to come out from the Panthers organization or Matthew Tkachuk's camp. Someone's saying something. It is getting out there. This is a little foreshadowing that maybe sometime very soon, instead of waiting until the end of August or maybe sometime in September for him to be put on LTIR and have the surgery, it might be happening sooner than we think, because nobody was really posting anything, because the last thing that we literally heard about this was straight from Matthew Tkachuk's mouth pretty much when he said this, guys. Sorry, not that.
I've got to go through
it was
some
this
steps here and then see if I need surgery or not. It's going to take a few weeks to determine if I need it. It's probably 50-50 right now. So so I don't know if it'll be a normal summer or not. I hope so. Not just going to jump right into surgery without talking to everybody and going through everything. I mean, I have a few weeks here where I can figure it out.
So 50-50, that was in June. We are now in August, almost 2 months after the fact. So I think they're getting closer to a decision. I think the camp is leaking some information to some insiders stating, hey, look, we're getting closer to figuring out what we're going to do. Because I have a feeling if they're going to pursue surgery in the immediate future, that means it's going to be a longer duration for him to recover. And I think they do want him back, not for the playoffs, but for some portion of the end of the regular season, just to kind of get his bearings straight, get him back on the ice, get him playing, get him back in action, get the chemistry back with his team to see how is he going to be. Because if he's missing 3/4 of a season, at least 60 games or more, yeah, I think we're going to see a little bit of change with those lines, and maybe they're going to be a little more cautious and say, all right, if the doctors are saying he's at 100%, he looks great. But again, this is an injury that's not easy to come back from. Any groin injury, no matter how minor it is not really minor. It takes a long time for it to heal. And if it's surgical, a surgical need to repair it, which this is going to have to be that way, it's going to be months that he will be out. And we probably won't see him come back, I would say, till maybe around January or February. It could be later if he has surgery immediately. If we wait till September, it'll be November, December, January. Yeah, about February or March that he could possibly come back. But even then, being in prime condition to play in the playoffs, we'll see. The last thing they want to do is risk the same injury or an injury to the same leg somewhere else. He's going to miss more time, and who knows what will happen with his career. But that's a discussion for another day. But anyways, guys, one other thing I want to show is just what Paul Maurice had to say about this. And this is not that far off. This is pretty recent. Matthews played with some injuries. This is him talking about when he was playing through those injuries. We weren't hopeful at the start that he would survive the first round, just didn't think he could do it. But what he does so well is that he's so smart when he plays.
I've got to go through some
and
steps
that he
here.
is. He's incredibly smart. He knows what he can handle. He knows what he can't. He played on one leg. He did the best he could, and his best effort through probably being at about 60% was pretty damn good, if you ask me. The points he put up, the goals, the assists, the intangibles he was still able to do, he still made a difference. He's one of the big parts of why they won their second Stanley Cup in a row. But anyways, guys, getting back to everything, I hope you enjoyed this episode. And please, if you're going to post something, comment down below, absolutely. But back it up with some sort of facts. I just showed you LTIR, the rule. That there's nothing here that says, oh, well, they're going to wait till the last minute, because they're allowed to. It doesn't say in the rule book that they have to pursue something immediately. It's well within the team and the player's right to find a doctor that they seem will help them the best. Somebody said, oh, you're crazy with the analogy you're using. So if you're going to a doctor because your knee is hurting you, and your doctor's going to say you need a total knee replacement, but then you have another doctor says, listen, we can do an arthroscopic procedure to easily just clean out the knee and you'll be good in about 6 weeks or 8 weeks compared to a 4 to 6 month recovery. Which doctor are you going to go to? And you also have to kind of cross-reference. And if some doctors are giving you the exact same opinion, you know what procedure needs to be done, and you just got to find the right doctor. And that could take a long time, especially if there's different procedures. Ones that are less invasive, you're trying to find out who that doctor should be for you. So that way you can come back faster and be better than you were before and have less risk of returning and re-injury. There's so much that goes into this, guys. So the process does take some time. It's not as simple as saying the guy broke a leg or, he just tore something in his shoulder and just have surgery and repair it. It's not that simple with this kind of injury. This is a very complex injury. But anyways, guys, thank you for joining me on this episode of Panthers Digest. Comment, subscribe down below, share everything. Again, I appreciate all of you, even the ones who are going to argue against me, but still, post your comments down below. Be supportive of each other. Please be kind to one another as well. And I'll have another episode coming out tomorrow. Stay tuned for that one. It's going to be fun. So guys, stay tuned. I will talk to you tomorrow. And go Cats.